Hi viewers, welcome back to the 2-hour news show on C Today. The Indonesian national football team conducted their latest training session on Wednesday night in preparation of their match against China. According to Garuda squad head coach Peter Kluivert, the recent centralized training in Bali might be the key to secure victory.
30 Indonesian players were involved in the last training session at the Gelora Bung Karno main stadium in Jakarta on Wednesday night. Everyone in the squad took part in the session under head coach Patrick Kluivert, including those who were absent due to car accumulation. Not long before the training started, Coach Kluivert said during a press conference that the preparations for the match against China have been going well, especially after the squad trained in Bali. The coaching staff also evaluated their loss in the first leg and identified issues which must be improved, namely negative transition and final third execution. They have also anticipated player absence. Kluivert believes that all these factors together will be the key to victory, aside from the massive fan support in Jakarta.
The things that we trained and the execution of the players were fantastic. For me, the most important thing is that the players need to recognize the things that we are offering them, what China will do tomorrow. The things that they did were really good. Ball possession, ball loss, the two transition moments were really fantastic. And I did say I hope for a good result, and I'm confident. So tomorrow we will see what we bring on the table. And again, we can talk a lot of things, but tomorrow the execution of the players need to be very precisely on tomorrow's game, because it's very easy to say things, but tomorrow if we see it and we have a press conference after the game, I hope that my words are the truth that I'm saying now.
Indonesia will face China on Thursday night. In light of this crucial game, Coach Kluivert has prepared 30 players alongside specific strategy to secure victory and stay in the Big Four of Group C. See Today contributor reporting from Jakarta.
And now it is time to put the spotlight on the match with football tactical analyst Muhammad Yusuf Raihan. Joining us live in the studio. Raihan, how are you today?
I'm fine, I'm good.
Yeah, I think you're all ready to, talk about football here.
Yeah, I'm always excited for Timnas Day.
Of course, it is Timnas Day. Okay, so before we get into, 2026 World Cup Asian Qualifiers match prediction, here's the thing. So Indonesia if Indonesia win, they would boost their chances of finishing in the top 4, keeping their World Cup hopes alive. Now, if China gets victory, it is crucial because it'll move them up in the bottom of the group and remain in contention for qualification. So both teams needs to win this match, right?
Yeah.
So first, we're going to look back again on the track record of Indonesia and China from previous matches. Indonesia defeated Bahrain 1-0, while China lost to Australia 2-0. The question is, what chances do both teams have in the qualifiers, and what do you think will be the outcome of tonight's match? This is a big match. It's a pretty big match, It's Timnas Day.
The stakes are very much high for both China and Indonesia.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about the outcome, obviously, we do hope, as Indonesians, we want to see Indonesia winning against China, and I think that's a realistic expectation as well, because I think on paper the quality of our players are, it's crazy to say this, but it's probably more superior. I wouldn't say this like 3 or 4 years ago, but now, especially looking at the players that we have here right now in the disposal. Players like Oli Romani and even local players like Rizky Ridho, they have shown that they have quality.
Yeah.
They have shown what it takes to compete in the biggest stage in the region, in Asia. And yeah, I think it's fair to expect a win against China. Yeah.
So you would say that we have a pretty solid squad for tonight's match?
Yeah. Even with the suspensions and all the absentees, I think that we have what it takes to play and win against China.
Okay, now Indonesia has always struggled with against China at home and has yet to notch a win since 1987. Now, do you think Patrick Kluivert's team can break this curse? Because that was a long time ago. You know, it would be nice. It would be nice if it happens tonight, right?
Yeah, 1987. Wow. Yeah, that's a long, long time ago. But you know, I'm a believer that past records do not really matter because what we have here right now, this iteration of Garuda national team, it's quite different than what we have in the previous editions. And you know, even though we lost our last game against China, I think it was a shock loss. I think it was unexpected. I think Indonesia should perform better than they did against China in the last game. And I think playing in home as well with the crowd, with the energy of Gelora Bung Karno, I think it would help us boost our chances to win. And I think hopefully we can break this curse.
And not only that, but if we're talking about the squad itself, back in October 2024, in their first match against China, or previous match against China, we had a different coach. So, you know, that might make a big difference too for tonight, right?
Yeah. And I think Patrick Kluivert as well mentioned in the press conference that they have the, as he mentioned it, formula. So to win against China. So yeah, we might. It's going to be interesting to see what the formula is.
Okay. All right. So now let's talk about tactical analysis then. Let's get on to it. What offensive and defensive strategy should we expect from both teams tonight? We're going to start with China first.
Okay. So I think I will discuss more about the general shape or how it will probably look like. And the thing is, I use the snapshot of China against Australia because Australia play in a similar structure offensively with Indonesia. So here you can see 3 defenders, 3 at the back, and 2 players here in the middle, with 5 players with the strikers here to support the front line here. And Indonesia playing in a 3-4-3 system, it probably will look like this, most likely. And China, they play in an unorthodox defensive structure, I think. It's quite rare to see this for a midfield diamond defensively, because you probably almost see, generally you have like a 4-4-2, but with like a more standard one. So wingers here, 2 central midfielders here. But with China, they play in a 4 diamond 2 structure.
So they're both open here. Nobody.
As you can see here, that there's a lot of space down here. But that is actually what they want to do. They actually want to,
create a space.
Create space out here. So attract the ball here, and then when the ball comes to here, then these guys will go and press. So we can move on to the next slide, I think, to get a clear understanding. So here, I think what we have is a numerical advantage, especially in this stages, in the first phase of our attack, our build up here, because as you can see here, it's a 5 versus 3. So 3 defenders against these 2 players. There's a lot of access to these two double pivots, as you can see here, and he is tasked to, mark 2 players at once, and it's structurally, I think it plays an advantage for us because, as you can see here, a 5v3, and it leaves space as well here. But the thing is, maybe we can move on to the next slide first. Okay, maybe, but we'll talk about this first. We are sufficiently outnumbered here. As you can see here, we only have 3 players. Maybe you can consider these guys to help out as well. But still, the key thing is to unlock China's defenses with movements. So we'll move on to the next slide. So here, what they want to do is to funnel the ball to this area here. So when the ball comes to this area, they will press. They will press the widest player out here, and they will use this touchline as well to be an extra defender because you cannot go outside the pitch, right? So, that is what they will do. But what I think we can exploit on is the spaces here. So this central midfielder, he will follow this man, making the runs here. And there's going to be some spaces
Yes.
out here. So yeah, I think that is like a sneak peek of what weaknesses
what
that
could
we can
happen
exploit.
tonight. Okay, so can the Garuda squad capitalize on more weaknesses in Chinese defense, and what can we expect from China's game plan?
Yes, so yeah, I think the first thing that, as you mentioned before, probably these spaces are going to be opened up a lot in the game for us against China, and as well for Australia in the previous match and the previous match as well, which is, I think, Saudi Arabia playing against China. So when I watched the match, the replay, there was a lot of moments that these spaces are just left behind by the China team, because maybe this is the outside center mid. He will come towards this player, and this leaves a space for these players. And what I want to see is that actually the pivot here, so maybe players like Joey Pelupesi or Tom Hay being more active in helping the attack and fill in these spaces. Why? Why not this guy coming inside, coming here?
Yeah.
Because it leaves a lot less players up front here, right?
Yeah.
And that way we cannot break down the China defensive structure. And as well, what I want to point out as well is these three, they have to keep the structure still very disciplined. I don't want to see players moving up front here, because what was the mistake against China last time is that these players, these outside center backs especially, they were prone to just leaving their spaces behind. And what happened is that we lost the ball here, and they can just play a quick pass up front, and we actually conceded, I think, the second goal against China in the last match through that kind of situations.
So make sure these two players stay there.
Yes, so what we call it is rest defense. So the defensive structure when we are actually attacking. So yeah. So here, I'm using a snapshot for Australia against China, and this is the thing that we mentioned before. So there's a lot of space here, but I think I don't want to see this player coming here. But what I want to see more is this player going up here. And this, he can make a runs in behind. And I think that in 7 seconds, you can see here that there's a lot of space because China has to get back on defense in transition, and we have to be quite decisive as well when playing at the break. So yeah. And as you can see here as well, this actually resulted in a goal, but you can see that there's a lot of space here. And that is because the midfield three is quite stretched. And when we can stretch the midfield three here, there's going to be a lot of spaces out here. And I think this guy, Jackson Irvine, scored the goal just here. So yeah.
All right. Well, okay. So if we're talking about the players for tonight, let's mention Marcelino, Ragnar, and Paz will miss the match against China tonight. So with Audero playing instead of Paz. Now, who do you think will play against? Will play in replacement of Marcelino and Ragnar?
Yeah. So I think obviously without Marcelino and Ragnar, there's going to be players who are not filling in this position, because you can see that Marcelino is generally do play here. Ragnar made the phase here, but they can change positionally, so they can switch roles. And what we are going to miss out on is that these players who are probably more comfortable playing in tight spaces. So in these sort of spaces, we are going to miss out on them. Especially, I think Marcelino is going to be a very big miss. But as maybe we'll discuss a little bit about China, how they attack first, and then we will talk about Marcelino, the absentees in detail. But generally, China will, they are a bit more of a direct team. They aim for this two strikers, and what they want to do is play it to the fullbacks and just play long balls up front here. So the thing is that our defenders have to be very disciplined, especially in keeping the line intact, because they have to be very communicative with each other in order to not let maybe an offside trap will be maybe I don't know, but as these guys, they should be communicative.
Yeah,
is the thing. And here China as well. Maybe as we mentioned, Marcelino. Maybe if he plays in this game, he can turn his player and just dribble past him. But without him, we lost that kind of ability. We lost that kind of skills in tight spaces. And I think that has an impact, especially when China presses us into these sort of situations where they can outnumber us. Having players like Marcelino, having players like Ragnar, who is strong as well. He is someone who can hold up the ball very strongly. I think we will miss out on them.
Okay. Well, like you mentioned, we have absentees for tonight's match. So then, can you just give us your Garuda squad lineup prediction for tonight's match then?
Yeah, I think Marcelino, Ferdinand, and Ragnar Orotmangun, they are going to be absent, but as well as Eliano Reinders, who probably can fill in as well in the right wing spot. He's going to miss it as well for personal reasons. And some of the candidates are these players.
Okay.
So, Egy Maulana Fikri, one of the best players in Liga 1. Not only local players, but I think just in general, he is one of the best performers. Jacob Sayuri as well, playing his best football with Malut United. Beckham Putra, a replacement call-up, someone new. But Dean James, even though he is naturally a left wing back, I think he can play as well as a left winger. And I think I might have missed out on Stefano Lillipali. So he is an old name, but a familiar name, but still quality. But I think someone who will play is Jacob Sayuri. I think he fits the role more better than Egy Maulana Fikri, Beckham Putra. Especially, I think he is more of a willing runner. As we mentioned before, I don't want to see the right winger dropping into the spaces, but I want them to being more of an exploitative runner in behind, creating chaos with his runs. And I think Jacob Sayuri is the better fit for this game.
Okay.
So so for the starting
for the
lineup,
here we go.
Well, I think I'm comfortable in choosing the midfield two and the back line as well with the goalkeeper, because Martin Paes will also be absent because of yellow card accumulation. But I think that there is going to be some question marks up front. I'm fairly confident that Romani will start. This is my pick, Jakob, but I'm not quite too sure. Again, with Rafael Strike, maybe we can see Egy Maulana Fikri, maybe we can see Lillipali playing. But I think due to Strike, his energy, especially when pressing from the front, it's quite good. I wouldn't say it's valuable, but he plays. He's already familiar with the system. So yeah, I think this is going to be the starting lineup.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what? We are running out of time, but real quick. So, what do you think the score will be like for tonight?
Oof. I'm saying a 2-0 win.
2-0 win. All right. Well, Raihan, thank you so much for being here, and enjoy the game for tonight.
Thank you.
For Indonesia. All right, viewers, we are going back for another break. We are going for another break now, and after the break, we'll bring you more news updates. So keep it right here on the 2-Hour News Show on See Today.